Okay, so 5 years ago, I went all in on an industry that nobody knew about, had no track record. I sacrificed everything to do it. And now this year, a lot of people are finding out about it, right? Remote high ticket sales. In this video, I'm gonna be breaking down the 4 stages to a career. This picture that you see right here, I think perfectly sums up the industry right now. You see a bunch of internet marketers living out of their penthouse who don't really have the track record. They're telling you about the placements and how to start, but there really isn't a lot of clarity on what happens after that, which is the only thing that matters. You're probably looking to get into this space because 1, you want to make good money. 2, you want to work completely remotely and on your own schedule. And 3, and most importantly, you want to maintain that. You want to be able to do that for a long time and build a career. So in this video, I'm going to be breaking down the entire process and every stage that you're going to be going through and exactly what to look out for. So let's dive in. First of all, my 5-year career. I started in 2019. My business partner, Dylan, back then just a friend, a connection that I had, he was selling for an e-commerce coach. He was making really good money. He was doing like 20, 30 grand a month and he was bringing on closers. He gave me a call. I started doing a few hours a day of dials, working part-time, literally out of my dorm room. I did that for probably about 6, 7 months, and then COVID happened. School went out, they sent everybody home. I already hated it to begin with, and I was miserable there. I was making money closing. I was making thousands of dollars a month, and I was like, you know what? Let's go all in. Let's see what happens. So 10, 12-hour days, 7 days a week, went really hard. That year was just all closing. 2021, I took on more of a leadership role. What that meant was, managing, doing a little bit of hiring, onboarding, working with other closers that we were bringing in because we were scaling fast. 2022, we actually started our own offer. Like rather than selling other people's coaching programs, we created our own program where we would train and place closers. Now in 2023, we're on a mission to help 100 closers get to 100 grand a month. So I've came a long way. And now you guys are going to use my experience to set yourself up, all right? Moving forward, just quickly before we dive into the career that's going to be in front of you, quick common misconception. This is not a job, okay? This isn't, one of these customer support jobs that, you just make money, you can go live in Thailand and, it's just easy, right? JOB stands for just over broke. That's not what you're looking for. And if that is what you're looking for, bounce. There's a lot of people in sales who, they get a base, they get a salary. The salary is the drug that they give you to give up on your dreams, all right? That is not what this is here. You're gonna be on 100% commission. What that means is your income is gonna be directly correlated to the results that you bring in, the revenue that you drive. There's gonna be very high highs and there's gonna be low lows, right? I just want you to be prepared for that, right? Some people think that, it's easy and you just, customer service your way through this. No, like you're really gonna have to step into a new version of yourself to be able to max this thing out. This 100% commission, if you're like me, that excites you and that makes you think of what's possible, but it also turns away a lot of people, right? So hopefully those people are clicking off this video right now. Stage number 1, all right? This is you right now. You're a little egg, okay? Just waiting to hatch. You're a trainee and you're making $0 a month. What you want to do is train properly. So understand basic sales principles, learn a sales framework, right? I go into this really in depth in a lot of my other videos, but for example, right? Like what do people buy? Do they buy a product or do they buy an outcome? You should probably know the answer to that, right? People buy because they like you, they want to be like you, or they are like you, right? You're going to allow your prospect to come to their own conclusions rather than telling them, right? People buy because of emotion, not because of logic. Things like that. Basic sales principles, you should start understanding, you should start studying. Once you've done that and you have a basic sales framework, you're going to role play a lot. Again, you want to, if you set this up correctly, if your goal is long-term to make multiple 6 figures, sell for a killer offer, and really just build the life that you want working in this space, like take 2 to 3 months to just lock in on training hard. Everybody wants to get placed tomorrow because they think that they're good, right? That leads me to my next point. You got to check your ego. I have people like right now on my team. We have this one guy who does 270 grand a year as the VP of sales for this big insurance company, that insurance construction project. This guy closes $1 million deals. But the thing is like his sales style is totally different from this industry, right? What he had to do was check his ego, be a student of the game, and be open to actually learning. So many people have a fucking ego, and that's the reason why they don't get past this stage, okay? Your KPI here, your key performance indicator, is 100 total role plays, okay? When you get to 100 total role plays, focused practice sessions, simulating real life sales scenarios, you should be at a place where you're either close to confident or you're completely confident and you're ready to go and find your job, right? Finding a placement, we go into that on other videos. Once you've gotten your placement, all right, once you've started, you're a level 1 Charmander, all right? You're a pretty cool Pokemon, you got a pretty cool setup, you got a lot of potential, but you're level 1, all right? There's 2 variables within your control at this point, right? So you've just started on your offer, you have inbound leads booked on your calendar. It's your first month on the phones, it's your first couple months on the phones. Keep in mind, your lack of experience will hold you back. Make up for it with your work ethic, right? So 2 variables that are in your control is your energy and your enthusiasm, and your volume, meaning the amount of conversations that you actually have, right? Your experience will come with time. Sales skill will come with time. In this phase right here, your energy on your calls, your enthusiasm should be through the roof, and you should be jumping on at least 20 to 30 sales conversations a day, right? This is gonna mean if you're still working, maybe you start part-time, you're still working a job or you're in school, you're gonna have to lock in on managing your time. Like you're gonna have to get really serious about 3, 4, 5 hour time blocks and be very focused to make the most out of that time. Because again, you wanna get to a place where you can make enough money where you can actually quit your job, right? Extreme accountability. Everything is your fault. Every single thing is your fault, whether it is or it isn't. Everything is your fault. If a prospect tells you they want to think about it, they want to talk to their wife, they don't trust you, they've had a bad experience before, how could I have improved on the call? What could I have done better, right? The grind, you're just going to focus on straight volume, straight enthusiasm. Your KPI is having maximum hours on the phone, okay? Not hours working, like not hours, where I'm sitting down at my desk and I'm, working, but like actual time spent dealing with prospects, okay? Depending on your schedule, you want to max that out as much as humanly possible, especially in the beginning. Okay, stage 3, you've officially evolved, all right? You're a Charmeleon. Now you're a full-time closer. You've gotten to a place, or maybe you've left, your old job, you've left school, you've gone all in, you're doing about 5 to 10 grand a month, right? This is where a lot of people stick around. You might be here for a few months before you move on. You might stick around here for a few years. Maybe you're comfortable here, right? It really just depends on your goals. But at this point, you're now able to close consistently and predictably, meaning like you're able to influence the decision at the end of the call, right? You know exactly what needs to happen on a sales conversation for you to close a deal, and you're able to replicate that, if that makes sense. At this point, you're stepping into your unique closing style, like your strengths and your weaknesses. Complacency is going to be the biggest enemy here, especially if you want to level up past this point. Okay, complacency, what does that mean? It means being satisfied with what you've done, right? It means saying, oh, like it's halfway through the month and, I've made 6 grand in commissions. Amazing, I can take my foot off the gas, right? That is the opposite of what you want to do. Some people in this stage, and I've seen this happen so many times in our office, people who started alongside me, people who were making more money than me in the beginning, who were more, talented than I was, they would get complacent. They would make more money than they've ever made before in a single month. Foot is off the gas. What happens is, you do that, you set a certain standard for yourself, and then, you think, okay, I'm just going to coast a little bit. Instead of coasting, you end up going downhill. And then when you start going downhill, it's very hard to bring the momentum back up. Never get complacent. Always watch yourself. everyone likes to say, I'll never get complacent. I'll never get satisfied. I'll always work hard, right? This is going to be natural, right? Be prepared for it. If you want to progress past this stage, if you have bigger goals than just making 10 grand a month, which honestly, I think you should, no matter where you're starting from. One, work 40 plus hours a week. I spent a long time doing 12-hour days, 7 days a week, because I was at a stage in my life, I was young, I was hungry. Main priority, stack cash, develop my skill set. I went insane, especially with the kinds of offers that work in this space. They spend big money on their marketing. You'll have plenty of opportunity, plenty of leads, plenty of warm calls that you can call. You just got to open up the calendar for it. At this stage, you really do want to focus on your skill set, right? So what that means is setting aside an hour a day, every day, where you review your call recordings. You write down notes on the day, little things that you could have improved on. Right? If you do this every day incrementally over the course of a year, it's going to be black and white. I sucked at sales. I was the most unconfident, afraid of rejection. I was not built for this, but I became what I am today through focus on my skill set. Personal development is massive, okay? This is gonna make the biggest difference on the amount of money that you make, the person that you become, right? So that means waking up early, getting into a routine, the gym, your mindset, reading books, don't be an idiot and just spend your money and do stupid shit. Focus on the personal development. That's gonna allow you to progress. Your KPI here, you should be closing 30 to 50% of your deals, right? So the amount of deals that you close, the number of deals, divided by the amount of people who show up. So if you have, 15 book calls on the day, 12 people show up, you close 3, you have a 25% close rate. You want to improve that a little bit because that's kind of low. Let's keep going. So now you've officially stepped into your final form, all right? You're doing about 20 grand a month. You're what we call a sniper. You're one of the top dogs on your team. You're doing at least 150 grand a month in revenue, on a 10 to 15% commission. Now you have a little bit of leverage. Now you have control, right? So what that means is, the business that you're closing for, that you're selling for, they're going to come to you. You're going to have a little bit of power, right? Where they ask you questions about the marketing, about the fulfillment, about how they can put you in a better position of success, because at the end of the day, especially as a top closer, if you're successful, the business is successful, right? They're directly correlated. So the entire business will basically revolve around you. This is a great spot to be in, right? This is why you're going to work so hard to get up to this point. If you want, if you're the kind of person where maybe you've really mastered your skill set, you can take 5 calls a day, close 2 deals for 10 grand, make 10% on that, you make $2,000. It's that's pretty great. You don't need to work 12 hours a day at this point, because you can be a lot more efficient with your time. Again, you're a sniper. You might take, 3 shots and you only miss 1 every day, right? How to be a sniper? How do you develop your skill set to get to this point? Number 1, you're not going to get here by closing a bunch of payment plans. So with a lot of these offers, right, you might have a 5K, an 8K, you might have a 15, a 25, that you earn a 10% commission on, right? Let's say you're just closing a $5,000 program. If you earn 10% commission on that, you get $500 on a 45-minute meeting. It's pretty good. But let's say there's a payment plan for $1,000 a month, for example, right? You're not going to get to 20 grand a month if all you're closing is $1,000 payment plans, right? You're going to have to get really good at, getting people to take serious action with you, right? Part of that is going to be becoming a person of influence, right? One concept that, especially over the past couple of years, I've been thinking about a lot is you can't pour into other people with an empty cup, right? When you're what you're doing on a lot of these sales calls, especially in B2C, but even in B2B, is depending on the person that you are, right? The frequency that you're moving at, the amount of personal development that you've done, just by being who you are, you're going to influence other people to step into a better version of themselves, right? What that means is, maxing out on the personal development. That means treating yourself like a high level athlete, right? If you're going to ask your prospects, Sometimes if you have a call with someone and you know that your program is a perfect fit, but they don't have the full 5K, you got to be able to come from a place of conviction and influence them to find that full 5K, unload their bank accounts and make that move. And the only way that you can influence someone to do that, the only way that you can have the conviction to get somebody to take massive action and move, you have to be embodying those same character traits that you ask your prospects to embody, right? Mastering the paid in full, you got to be closing a lot of paid in full deals because that's where you're going to be making the most commission. You got to, influence people, not as a freaking social media influencer, but as just the person that you are. It needs to be magnetic. People look at you and they're like, wow, I want to be like this person. This is the kind of person that, maybe you share a piece of advice with them. Maybe on the call, you give them a train of thought that they've never thought of before in their life. And they're like, holy shit, this is the kind of person that I need to work with, right? You need to become a master with buyer psychology. And, you really got to love the game. You're not going to get to this point if you don't absolutely love the game. Once you're here, reevaluate your goals. You've probably accomplished what you've initially set out for yourself. I know when I started hitting these numbers, it's like, okay, I was secure. Like my initial problems and the things I wanted to change in the beginning were solid, right? They were taken care of. Now, what's the thing that you're going to tap into that's going to get you to the next level, right? Is it to continue to make money? Maybe you just want to enjoy life a little bit more, right? Rather than working all the time, maybe you just want to have fun, right? Maybe you want to take care of your family. Maybe you want to build businesses. You want to create impact, right? Figure out your why is going to change at this point. And if you think that the same goal that you had, when you started is what's going to get you to the next level, I think you're probably wrong. So keep that in mind. So next step from here is sales management. This is optional, all right? This is you. If you want to go this route, you're Charizard, but you got your team behind you, right? You got all a bunch of different Pokemon. Everyone's got different strengths, and you're leading the way, right? You're helping everyone tap into their strengths to become the best version of themselves, to produce and develop other snipers within your team, right? Optional. They say that the best managers are people who don't want to be managers, or the best leaders are people who don't want to be leaders. But anyways, this is just a really cool way to make passive income, especially when you have the credibility and the leadership capabilities to do it. So typically you'll earn 1 to 3% of total sales. So let's say for example your team does, outside of your sales, your team does 200 grand in total sales. You'll make a $4,000 check every month. Just for onboarding, training, tracking numbers, and leading your team, right? This is something where you might spend, 1 to 2 hours a day doing, and you make 4 or 5 grand a month on top of your commissions. It's pretty good. But I will be honest with you, it's, especially from my experience, it's a different skill set that you're gonna have to develop. It is more headache, and in some cases, this will distract you from your commissions and your personal sales, right? So just keep that in mind. This is something that's definitely on the table once you've kind of reached a certain point managing the team, right? So what happens next? What happens once you've reached this point? Keep in mind, you're in a really good position. You have options, right? This is you. There's a fork literally in the road. So, at this point, you've got cash in the bank. Maybe you've stacked up, 100, 200 grand. You have mastered the skill of moving other people's money into your pocket, probably the most valuable, definitely the most valuable skill in the world. You have connections, you have a network with, within your business, within other people in your space, you know names, you know other people, and you also have very in-depth knowledge of a business that's probably doing, $500,000 to $1 million a month. Right? When you spend a few years closing for a business that's doing those kinds of numbers, you're going to know every single aspect of it. You're going to know the marketing, what's the messaging on the front end, right? How do leads get converted, right? When they actually do get converted and they're on the inside, how does the fulfillment work? How does the operations on the back end work? For me, for example, I've closed on teams that are literally doing 8 figures a year, working within businesses that are serious operations, and it's given me an insane amount of experience, right? Now, all of these things combined, again, you have options, right? So what do you want to do from here? Maybe you want to keep going hard on sales. Maybe you just love being a closer, just being a sniper, and that's all you want to do. You don't want to take anything else on. I think that's great. Maybe you do want to level up with management. Maybe you want to start your own business. I think you can totally do that, and you'll have all of the skill sets necessary to do it. Maybe that's your next move, right? Maybe you just want to take the next 1 or 2 years and just do absolutely nothing, right? This is what you're working towards. This is why you get into high ticket closing, okay? To get to this position, because this is a really good spot to be in. And you know, my opinion, for those of you still watching, like, you're clearly serious about this. You clearly have aspirations of getting here. Look at it this way, right? The only thing that's stopping you from getting here is your skill set with sales. That's it. Okay, it doesn't matter where you start. If you have gotten good at a sport, if you've gotten good with an instrument, if you've learned a language, if you have gotten good at anything in your life, you have the ability to get good at something like sales. And when you get not only good, but when you get great at something like sales, now you have control, you have leverage, you can literally build the exact life that you want. So on that note, if you want to see like a full hour-long breakdown of, you know, actually one of my clients who went through this same process, for him, he went from trainee to sniper in 6 months. He moved through it very quickly. Not typical, I'll be honest, but this will just give you a lot more context on, you know, what the process is going to look like. Most importantly, what it takes, like what Zach was doing to make this happen in such a short amount of time. If you want to check it out, it's probably linked somewhere here, if not in the description down below. But anyways, that's all for today's video. You got work to do, my friend. I will see you at the top real soon. All right, peace.